What's
Damn.
up, NDL? Welcome back to the Outliers. It's been a while. I hope everyone enjoyed their holiday break, but we're back for another episode. Season is starting to wind down. We've got a lot to talk about, and apparently the live chat has a lot to talk about. Actually, delayed the start of this because we were having our own little chat about this pre-pod. So first things first, welcome everybody on the team back. Doc, welcome back. How are you, sir?
Good, good. How are you guys?
Not
Good,
bad.
good, good.
And Vic, I know you're doing good. You got to go like literally sneak out for Christmas and then have to sneak back for work. That sucks, but hopefully you were able to enjoy your trip out. No, you're in a casino, so I assume you did.
I definitely did, and I got to see almost everybody I wanted to see. So there we go.
All right. Um, and then just wanted to ask you guys. I know it's been like, it's always a weird time of year because you have Christmas and then right after you have New Year's. And I know for some people, New Year's isn't necessarily like a big holiday, but it's just back-to-back holidays. So just in general, how did you guys enjoy the time off?
I totally enjoyed it. I had I worked 3 days. I worked 2 days before Christmas. I had the week off. Came back, worked 2 days, had another 5 days off. So I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
That actually sounds really great. I'm kind of jealous of it. How about you? How were your 2 weeks?
I, I'm definitely jealous at Doc, but I mean, it was cool. It was cool. The 2 weeks was cool. This week here had to work New Year's Eve, but definitely got out on the town New Year's Eve night. Rested pretty properly with some football yesterday, and now we here.
Yeah, apparently Texas Tech and Bama rested as well. Interesting set
Apparently
of games
Texas
yesterday.
apparently Texas Tech had light practices. They had self scouting and light practices, you know.
Yeah, they're
Way to
just
go for your biggest bowl game of the year. Way to prepare. Good job.
yeah. Sorry, Mort. It it was rough, but hey, like everyone except for three people enjoyed Bama getting blown out. So I guess it all worked itself out in the end for the greater good. And then the last game of the night was pretty good too. Crazy. That finish was wild. Not gonna lie, that
It was.
safety that happened at the end got me the final leg on my parlay. 'Cause I was so mad at the play calling when Georgia got in the red zone, and then I end up hitting the over on the points with the safety anyway. And yeah, we can talk off stream about that one because it was a pretty nice one, not gonna lie. But something in the live chat is going on, what's going on the last 10, 15 minutes that we were kind of talking about here. So I just have to ask you guys, how do you feel about mayo as a condiment? I think it's absolutely disgusting. Like it's obvious because I've been telling you guys that, and I clearly was typing it out in live chat as well. I absolutely hate mayo. But how do you guys feel about it?
I love mayo. I think mayo makes a burger. If you ask ketchup and mayo on a burger, it's perfect. I
I'm
I don't understand the people that dip their fries in mayo because that
mm,
that to me is gross. Um, but I love mayonnaise. I put it on every sandwich there is.
I'm alright with mayo. I'm like if it's on a burger sometimes, yeah, but don't put too much on it. And I'm not putting it on nothing else. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even really put it on sandwiches or subs from Jimmy John's or Subway or whoever. Um, I'm not or Firehouse subs. I'm not really a mayo person, but I don't mind it. Like it's not nasty, but do I prefer it? No.
Fair enough. Well, then let me ask another question. Um, this is so awkward. I'm sorry. Um, how do you guys how do you guys feel about putting mayo in your coffee?
No, thanks.
I don't even drink coffee, so there you go.
I was
How do you
about to
not
say.
drink coffee?
Hey man, I'm a different breed, brother. I'm a different
No.
breed. I do not drink coffee. I probably tasted I've never drunken hot coffee before because my body does not like anything hot, liquidy. Pause. Um, I've tried an iced coffee before and it was nasty.
Wow. I have to have at least 4 cups of coffee before my day starts.
Hell no.
Man, I'm I'm weird because I'm used to staying up super late, and I usually run off of 4.5 to 5 hours of sleep a day anyway. Like that's prime sleep for me. So if I need an extra boost, usually I just grab within reason an energy drink. I try not to get kind of crazy with it. But the
There
reason I
we
bring
go.
this up, since everyone's grossed out in the live chat, debating about ranch on wings and mayo in
Yeah.
general. The one thing that I disagree with Pat on, I agree with him on pretty much everything else. That's our one difference, I guess. So you guys know that I do like Kentucky. They are my second favorite college team. And there's a quarterback that's pretty known for mayo and putting mayo in his coffee, and that would be the current backup. Well, he's injured now, but one of the quarterbacks for the Tennessee Titans, Mr. Will Levis, used to play at Kentucky. He actually has a sponsorship with Hellman's because of that. And I wanted to share a story with you guys I thought was funny, but also let you know something that's kind of disgusting too that I tried to do, but it failed. So they actually put out a cologne,
Oh no.
and I kid you not, because I had just had surgery and it would go up for sale every morning at 7 a.m. and it sold out so fast. They probably had like five being shipped out a day or something. And I'm not even kidding. 6:59 every morning, I was refreshing that site trying to get it because I just wanted to get it and see what it smelled like. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it. So yeah, he really took the mayo to the extreme. But I did have a stream goal one night of putting mayo in the coffee, and let me tell you, that was a stream ender because I did it, and I can probably find a clip for you guys. I deleted it off the site so no one could pull it up against me. I puked immediately on stream, immediately. So yeah, it took a while to clean the desk.
Instant pukage. Instant throw up.
Like literally
Oh
expelled
man.
everything out of my system. It was so gross, and I hated myself for letting them talk me into that.
Wow.
And I'm not a coffee
Whoever.
guy. It's just like I can do coffee occasionally, but I don't have like any feelings towards coffee, good or bad. It's just it's there. If I want to drink it, I'll drink it. If I don't, I don't. But yeah, that day was a terrible day. It ruined the rest of my day.
Who,
So yeah.
whoever talked you into that owes you money today.
See, this is what happens when you have bad mods that talk you into doing stupid things. So yeah, my mod team definitely takes an L for that one. But in their eyes, it was a W. So yeah, whatever. But yeah, let's get this back on track. Let's talk about the NDL. So man, now I'm just grossed out. I'm sorry, Dub. Dub, if you're not in chat, Dub saying that this is a great conversation to have while he's eating dinner. We're sorry. Definitely don't go on the live chat then if you don't like mayo or ranch, because that's not going to help you either. But with the season
Amen.
winding down, just wanted to point out two things for everybody. I'm assuming, because that's what the schedule says, unless the powers that be in red say otherwise, there are 2 weeks left of the season. So there's a poll that's due on Saturday. If you haven't done it, do it today, tonight, tomorrow morning, whatever. Make sure you get your participation point. And as games are getting simmed out, make sure you're paying attention. If you have a game that's getting simmed on your schedule, make sure that you're doing the sim stat so you can get your participation points. Don't want to hurt your draft stock or your potential of staying at your team if you want to stay there because you missed out on something super easy to do. So that's just a PSA announcement, or well, PSA, the AZ announcement for anyone that's Just needs a quick reminder. So let's jump in. First things first, we got the top 25. Always start with that. And we have a handful of teams that are ranked, and I'm sure there's going to be a handful of teams ranked in the poll that comes out tomorrow. We've got Buffalo at 16. They're 18 in the media. East Carolina's at 18. They're 20 in the media. Fresno State's at 20 and 21 in the media. I like how that worked out. Then you've got a couple more teams. Washington State's 22 in coaches, 24 in the media. Temple, 23 in both. And Western Michigan, 24th in the coaches, 25th in the media. So I know it's been kind of a 2 week block, but based on what you guys have seen, how do you feel about those teams in the top 25? Is there anyone that you were surprised was left out?
Not
Whoever
me.
wants to go first.
Um, I think I don't know if it's a surprise or not, but like James Madison, I feel like they've had a good season and they've come on pretty strong. So I would have to say James Madison. If like I looked at them, maybe not in the top 25, but kind of knocking on the door there.
Okay. Vic?
I would say Southern Miss. I did have them in my top 25. Also, USF. I'm surprised they're not in there. Their only two losses are to Alabama and Tennessee.
Man, that Tennessee game was really close. I've got
Def-
three. South Florida was a surprising one to me not being in there. And one team that we really haven't talked about this season, really at all, other than the loss to South Florida, really was Memphis. I know he had the disconnect game against Mississippi State. We talked about that some, but he's very quietly gone 7-2 and just not really had any fanfare at all with him this season. He's still put together another solid season. That Joker's is pretty much making routine at Memphis. And then Central Michigan. Now, granted, at the time, they had two losses, but I think it'll be more reflected going forward. I believe the Western Michigan game was the game that would be tied to these rankings, but then going forward, the Buffalo game and UConn. So I think they're knocking on the door, and they're probably going to crack the top 25 in the next ranking.
Yeah, they definitely should. I remember our last pod, um, me saying that it's a big, upcoming few weeks for them, and they definitely passed the test, so they should be ranked in this upcoming poll.
And then a weird one, and it's not weird because it's bad or anything. It's just because of the website. So, obviously, a conference I'm playing in, and I know that Liberty is undefeated in conference play, but the site shows that they're undefeated, but they have just one loss. They're 7-1, I believe. Pretty sure it's seven
Yeah,
and
they have
one
a road loss.
to Clemson, which is
Yeah,
we know what El Jefe's done at Clemson. I've got to see it firsthand for a couple of hours on the last game cycle. Well, I guess this game cycle too. But I've got to see that firsthand. For him to only lose by 10 and then run the table the rest of the way, like he's just kind of had no fanfare. 'Cause I know it's a newer coach coming in to replace the former coach, but he took over the team and has run the table. Kudos to him, and we'll see how he finishes out.
kudos.
Well, this will be interesting because we were kind of talking before. A lot of games have been played, but we were also on break too. So we're going to focus on results mainly from block six. We'll still have an episode next week, kind of like the in between before the end of the season. With the holidays, everyone needs the time off, and it's just a little bit harder to get stuff together with everyone being busy. So we're just going to focus on block six results, some of them, a couple of block seven results or previews, and then we have some stuff to talk about in terms of storylines. That probably is going to be the majority of the podcast this week. So starting out for block six, Washington State. I know they suffered their second loss not too long ago. They get a nice bounce back win over Wyoming, 42-24. Washington State still dipping into the Mountain West. I know they still have some ties there. And obviously, Pac-12-ish, whatever it's going to be called, ties going forward. But Cougars coming up big. They're down 3 points heading into the fourth quarter, a 21-0 fourth quarter to finish the deal. And they remain with two losses and try to stay in the hunt for potential CFP bid, depending on what happens. So strong finish by Washington State in this one. Did either of you guys get to see the game? And or if so, how do you feel about this win for the Cougs?
I didn't see the game, but I did see the score. Um, I did peep that he did have 21 in the fourth. Zevi Ikakis, the quarterback for Washington State, is currently leading the NDL in passing yards. So good for him and good for the Cougs bouncing back after that loss to Maryland.
Yeah, I didn't see the game either, but there's a few things that I got out of it that I was pretty impressed with. Is the fact that Wyoming had 474 yards of offense. Um, the balance in Washington State's offense was 227 passing, 247 rushing. Um, and then Geilenberg was 16 catches, 134 yards, and a touchdown.
Oh, he
So,
had a day.
yeah.
I
And
hope it.
it's surprising he's going to come up a little bit later. Both players that we just talked about are going to come up later, but he's actually having a very quietly good season. So,
Yeah, I just know for I just hope that
but I know
his
what it's like playing in Laramie.
I hope his teammates were definitely, massaging him on the sideline, bringing him water and Gatorade, the oxygen if he needed it. A lot of work. Sucks that they weren't able to finish the deal in the fourth quarter, but man, the Cougs offense, once they get going, they are tough to stop.
Yeah, they're hard to stop.
Well, next up, a big game in the Fun Belt. Got the Louisiana Raging Cajuns over Texas State 31-21. And another one of those games where a big run made the difference. Louisiana was down 7-0 at the end of the first, and they scored the next 28 points. That helped blow the game open. And they improved to 5-1 in conference play. And given the fact that we're talking about conferences later, something tells me we'll be talking about them in that segment as well. So a big win for them. It sometimes can be tough when you have those expectations going for the end of the season. And hey, you got to win to stay in the hunt. They made it happen. What do you guys think about that one?
You go first up.
Um, well, I was super impressed by the linebacker who had 16 tackles, 2 for loss, and a sack, and an interception for a touchdown. I was pretty impressed with that. Um, you know, it Lafayette has really had a really good offense. They were balanced in that game, and both teams played well rounded. It's just these games that come down to these close games. They That's one thing I like about the G5 is all the teams. No team really stands out, right? So most of those games are going to be really good games, and this just happened to be one of them.
Yeah, yeah, this just happened to be one of them. Slow start for Texas State, but then got it going towards the second half. Couple of 100-yard receivers and Chris Don and Marvin Anderson for Texas State, but it was a little bit of too little, too late. It's like they couldn't get off the ground in the first half, and they couldn't, get beside themselves. But then after a while in the second half, they got everything going, but it was too little, too late.
Yeah, a rough loss for Texas State. They're 4-6 now, so I'm hoping that they're going to be able to win their last two games and be able to, solidify a bowl game. We'll have to see what happens with them down the stretch. Next up, one of the big games of last block, and I know a lot of people tuned in because we were all in his stream talking. That'd be Central Michigan against Buffalo, and that one was a win for the Chips, 41-23. That ground attack early on and a slow start by Buffalo spelled disaster as a whole for the Buffalo team. They tried to force their way back in late third quarter, early fourth, but Central Michigan making the plays to close out the game that they needed. The second big win recently in conference play because they also beat Western Michigan, so now they stand atop the MAC undefeated. Did either one of you see this game? And if so, how do you feel about both teams going forward?
I saw it. I was in the chat commenting too. Definitely saw the game. First of all, the national anthem before the game. Just such class. You gotta love that. The fired up chip song as they were coming out onto the field. The whole presentation of Chip's stream is just a chef's kiss. That's all it is. It's just a chef's kiss. It's a lot going on with Chip's stream. But as far as the game is concerned, I felt like Coach Andy was underwhelming. Like it's like he was a little bit too confident. Like he knew he was going to win, and just got jumped out on early, and didn't know how to recover after that. It's like he just assumed, like, yeah, this team is rated lower. They have a little bit slower guys. I can maneuver through this. But once Chip got up on him, he never let up and got the win. And I just felt like it was just an underwhelming performance by Buffalo.
I don't think it was an underwhelming performance by Buffalo. I think that you know Central Michigan just got on them from jump, right? And sometimes that momentum in this game has such big swings that there's just no coming back from them. But he only had 46 yards rushing too, so
Yeah, with
um,
with 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 a potential Heisman candidate running
yeah,
back. So it's
yep.
like
I mean,
I
you
feel
gotta,
like he just underwhelmed. I just felt like he underperformed. Like
yeah,
I don't know what the game plan was. I don't know if he tried to adjust the game plan after halftime, but it was just he just fell all the way flat.
yeah. But I mean, hats off to Chip. I mean, that
Definitely,
his
definitely.
game was so balanced. His rushing yards, passing yards were almost even. And then his defense, they were everywhere. He had two guys that had 10 tackles and 9 tackles. One guy had 5 for loss. I mean, just it was an unbelievable game. So, hats off to Chip and the way he played that game.
Yeah, I think
Definitely,
it's
definitely hats off to Chip. Definitely.
Yeah.
yeah, we can all agree on that. It's a big win for Central Michigan, as we talked about a little bit before. I think this will help push them into the top 25, and they have taken out the two other contenders in the MAC, so they have pretty much the straight line to playing in the MAC championship. And then we'll see what happens there. I mean, those are two impressive wins on the resume and potentially an opportunity for a third in the MAC championship game. For Buffalo, it's an interesting one because they have been able to coast for most of the season. This is the first time they face like real adversity. I mean, there was another game, the team escapes me. I wanted to say Akron. That was a closer game than expected, but I feel like Buffalo coming in, you have these other teams around the G5. I'm looking at East Carolina, I'm looking at Fresno State, I'm looking at Temple and South Florida. They all have blemishes on their records. And you have a chance to run the table and use that as one of your talking points potentially for getting that G5 bid. And it's not just a loss, but a really tough loss too. The offense didn't get going, and then defensively, they were just gashed a lot on the ground. It's a lot of big holes for the CMU guys to run through. So they're going to have to get some things fixed up. And now, like, there's it eases some of the pressure off, so to speak, because you don't have that undefeated record, breathing over your shoulder. But they have to get things right to prevent their season from going off the rails in terms of conference play, so they can get back going and get into the MAC championship for a potential rematch. And it
Agree with
is
that.
Akron, so thank you, Chip. Like, so many tabs open, it's hard to remember what teams are on what tab. Um, One game that was really exciting was in the American, and it's not with the top teams that you're expecting. It would was with UAB and North Texas, a game that went to overtime. Saw North Texas score first with a field goal, and UAB with the touchdown to ice it. Messamaker with 3 interceptions for North Texas. And obviously, that didn't help in being in a situation to prevent it from getting to OT. But UAB's defense holding up, and defense is always something that's hard to do in with this game. Being able to hold someone to a field goal, and then the onus is on your offense. Hey, that's who you want to have the ball at the end of the game. And they come through with a touchdown. So UAB still in the dark horse spot in the American, just one conference loss. How are we feeling about this game here? Feel bad for Drew because everyone likes Drew. We want him to get his 4 wins because that's what he predicted. And this was a good opportunity, just couldn't close it out at the end.
You go ahead, Doc.
Yeah. What I got here. I just UAB again. They played really good defense. They both over 200 yards passing. That and 100 yards rushing, which I thought was pretty good for a team to continue that balance. I like to see the teams that in the stats that can keep the ball, can throw the ball and run the ball. Makes the games a little bit funner. And then Eddie Townsend, 14 tackles, an interception, and a forced fumble. And then them coming back in the fourth makes for an interesting game.
Yeah, they definitely came back in the fourth. It was a tightly contested game. I did see the second half of the game. Um, I feel like I feel like with overtime, I'm just gonna speak on the overtime. I feel like in overtime, if you go for three, when you get the ball first, I feel like going for three is a death sentence every single time. I just feel like once you go for three and the other person knows you got three, then it's easier for them to try to score. That's just my opinion. But that's pretty much what sealed it because like North Texas was moving and grooving. I did have an interception in that fourth quarter, but bounced back and got a touchdown to tie the game and uh thought they could pull it out in the overtime, but them getting the three sealed their fate in the overtime.
Yeah, overtime is rough. I think, hey, just speaking for myself, last season I lost in overtime twice in the cup. And both times I scored a touchdown and my opponent got a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Like, man, the three doesn't even do anything. It's almost like you should just go for it on fourth down. Like, you have to have a touchdown.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel too, especially going first. I feel like the three when you have to go first is a death sentence. That's unless something drastic happens with a turnover, which doesn't really happen too much and when you gotta need it or when you gotta have it. But having three in the first half of the frame of overtime is a death sentence, and that's what happened in this game.
Yeah. Man, that UAB team is really scrappy. And they're 4-5
Yeah.
right now. They're pushing for a bowl, and we'll have to see how the tiebreakers break out or break down in the American. They still have one more big game. I don't think we had it listed here. I want to say it's against South Florida. I can't remember. I want to say it was against them though. But they have a opportunity to make a bowl game, and yeah, their defense has been really good in big spots this season. And it is South Florida. They're on the road in week 13. So we'll see what they do. Um, the Buffalo and Central Michigan game, everyone had that pegged in the G5 as the little guy game of the week. But I had another one, and this is probably one of my top five results of the season. That would be South Alabama against Louisiana Monroe. Now I'm going to say I feel bad for Louisiana Monroe, but they've had a really good season, and losing this game 41-38 gave them a second loss in conference play, and that pretty much drops them out of the hunt to win the division. But man, you got to feel good. Big Ride finally is able to get his first win of the season. He's been knocking on the door. He's had some close opportunities where some things just didn't go his way, and this time he was able to make it happen. So I'm going to ask you guys two questions here. One, just in general about the game, but two, when you're having a rough season, how good does it feel to finally have something break up the negativity with the win?
Getting a win is big. Getting a win, anytime you can win, especially when you haven't won all year, getting a win is special. That is definitely special in itself. And about the game itself, again, one of those situations. I'm gonna just speak on the overtime. It was pretty much a back and forth, momentum swing here, momentum swing there. But ULM got the field goal in the first half of overtime, and there you go, your death sentence right there. Even a team that didn't even pick up a win all year, you kind of set them up for success by kicking that field goal in the first half of overtime.
Yeah, Doc, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, uh, well, wow, he stepped out there. Oh, there you go.
Oh, sorry about that. My dog is watching TV, so he's barking. Um,
You're good.
so when you live in Minnesota and it's cold and the dog can't get the exercise it needs, it gets to watch TV. So, um,
Oh,
but yes,
Minnesota. I don't
yep.
miss it. I don't miss it.
You lived here?
I did. I did live there for close to 2 years. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I give up, the 5 months of winter for the other 7 months of all the other seasons. It's well worth it. So, but South Alabama, I'm super happy that, Rye was able to pull one out. That's a big win. Um, but overtime games, you got to, you can't start off with a field goal. You have to score. And I'm with you. Like, if you don't score, then just at that point you go for it. And if you don't make it, you don't make it. But at least you tried. I think you look at a field goal; it's almost like a cop out, especially with the way the defense is. Like especially if you haven't won, like and you want that win, it's it's, it's something you should do. So, but I'm super happy for South Alabama getting that win. So good job.
Yeah, can't stress that enough. Really cool to see him finally crack through and get that first win on the season. And then the last game we're going to look at a big game in the Sun Belt. A lot of Sun Belt action that was really important this weekend. One of the big games was in the other division. James Madison against Appalachian State. And James Madison, it was a really back and forth game, and it came down to the wire. They were able to get the win. They win it 31-28. So this does two things. One, it makes them 5-1 in conference play, and it makes App State 4-2 and gives James Madison the tiebreaker. So it's almost essentially a two-game lead with two games, like 2.5 games to go if you don't look at it that way. A big win for James Madison, the Glizzy one coming through at the end. How are you feeling about both of these teams going forward, guys?
I feel good about Mr. Glizzy over there at James Madison for sure. The game was it it wasn't a blowout, but it wasn't as close as a 3 point game. App State got somewhat of a garbage time touchdown, down by 10. They scored with about, I think, 50 seconds to a minute left. But in this game, that's an internal lifetime. So, it did cut the game to three. But they were well rounded. James Madison was in this game. They stopped the ground attack for the most part as much as they could, and they just overwhelmed them. Got a couple turnovers and overwhelmed them for the most part.
I agree. I think you know the offenses were pretty even, 306 to 322. And App State started out on fire. I remember talking about him at the beginning of the season, and here he is, 5-5. Would have never thought that, but
Me neither. Me neither.
that's why you played a game, right? And but you know, James Madison, they're making some noise in the Sun Belt. They finished with Delaware and Coastal, and App State finishes at Marshall and Arkansas State. So, schedule wise, I could see James Madison having some trouble with Coastal. I know, I know Gary can throw the ball around and he can make things happen. Um, but you know, if they can escape out of here with no losses or one losses, I still think they can get the leg up on App State.
Yeah, it's an interesting season because I know we were high on App State to start. No, especially me and Vic, we were super high on App State, and we like that ground and pound attack. Um, that tough loss to Arkansas, they were in the game, weren't able to pull that out, and then Penn State is like the power forward version of what App State's offense looks like. And those are two tough games to start the season, but they just never got their feet under them early on. They did towards the end, but this loss, at least in terms of conference play, I think is going to be the knife that finally lets them bleed out here. So just a step back this season. Not sure if he's planning on coming back, but if he does, I think he'll have some success next season. It's just a step back, regroup, get things together, finish this season strong, make a bowl game, and then we'll see what happens next season. But for James Madison, big plus coming in as one of the underdogs in the division, and it looks like as long as they don't fall apart at the end, looks like they're going to represent the East Division in the conference championship. So a really good season, and we'll see what Glizzy moves on to next season. Speaking of, the races, why don't we just talk about all the conferences in general? Because we're starting to get to that point in the season where there's still some crazy tiebreakers going on, but the picture looks a lot more defined now than it did, the last time we ran the Outliers. So we can go conference by conference and kind of talk about how things look, what you guys think in terms of how things play out, and go from there.
Perfect.
All right. Well, we'll just go make it easy. Just go by the standings page. We'll start at the top, going with the American. So South Florida in the best spot because they haven't had a conference loss yet. They sit at 5-0 right now. Just a couple games to go. But you have a couple of teams that are sitting there at 4-1. got Temple, who's ranked. You got Memphis. Like I said, they're kind of the dark horse now. That is kind of just have had a good season, but just going under the radar. And you have UAB just kind of sneaking in there, 4-5 overall, but 4-1 in conference play, so winning the games that matter the most. And then you have East Carolina and Tulane lurking. Both are 3-1. So a lot of one-loss teams. They are still going to have some games against each other. But given what we know now, who would you have pegged for the conference championship matchup?
Ooh, well, I would say I still like East Carolina. I still think they will. If South Florida can lose a game, I think East Carolina, for me, is still the team that comes out of there.
Well, if South Florida loses the game, that might affect the tiebreaker. So,
Yeah,
uh, especially one they got coming up. Ooh,
but then you look at what Temple's doing. You got to like Temple too, because they did beat East Carolina. They don't play South Florida, but they did beat East Carolina. So, but if South Florida loses, there's going to be a big jumble there um, to figure out who wins that conference.
yeah, that it's too close to call right now. If I were to go ahead and go at it, I would say USF and Temple, only because Temple has the tiebreaker on East Carolina right now. So I would go with those two teams, but it's still too close to call right now for that conference race.
But
Still
South
like
Florida, they
go ahead.
got Navy, UAB, and Rice. That's who they finish with. So UAB sits at 4-1. Rice sits at 3-2, and Navy's 2-6. But I mean, they got two out of their three games are going to be a pretty tough games.
And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna be tough.
yeah.
I would like to think that USF is going to be one of them because the path is clear for them, and because it's clear, yes, there's pressure, but they already faced pressure when they played. I guess you can say they faced pressure when they played. The games that they lost early in the season. Those were really tough games, but you're going in there and we're trying to make something happen. They almost pulled out that game in Tennessee. They hung around in their other loss for a bit. But I feel like this is one of those moments where, hey, look, it's right there for us to get there. Let's finish the job. We'll see who we get on the other side, but let's do our part to make sure that we get there. Just don't have a slip up. So
That
that's
that
dangerous, but
Temple
that's just
Tulane that Temple Tulane matchup is going to be the matchup of this block right here. Is that Temple Tulane matchup?
yeah, you got
Agree.
that, and then Memphis will have an impact as well because they play Tulane still from Block 6, and you got to match up with East Carolina as well. So again, as more games get played, some of these guys are going to get that second loss. So we're just waiting to see who it's going to be. But there's still some big games left. If I was a betting man, I probably side on USF and Temple. Temple just has to get by Tulane, and Temple's feeling really confident right now. They just have to keep the momentum going, and I think you get USF and Temple. That's my pick for the conference championship matchup.
I would agree with you right now, but like I said, it's just too close to call right now.
Yeah, I'm sure based on some results that could change within the next, 5 hours. So we'll have to see as more games get played for sure. But it's a fun race to watch.
Well, I'm gonna announce the next conference race since we have a person in this conference, and that is the CUSA or Conference USA if you want to go there. We have our own Sammy that is 6-0 in conference, and we have Liberty who is 4-0 in conference, and we have Coach Chrome with Middle Tennessee State that is 4-0 in conference, followed up by K Dot and Mr. Fisher over there in FIU that is 3-1 and 2-1 respectfully. Who do you guys see matching up with Sammy in the conference title game? Because, Sammy's getting one of the spots. I don't know if they know, but I know that he getting one of the spots.
I wouldn't bet money on that. I'm
I
not trying to
would,
make you
and
lose
I
your
would,
savings.
and I would. I would bet money on that.
Well, I'll just go first just so I can get out the way and don't have to talk anymore about this conference. No offense to my conference mates. It's just I don't want to talk about myself. There is one big, like big matchup that's left that I'm well aware of, and that's a rivalry game between Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee. Assuming that there are no slip ups along the way for either team, that almost is essentially a kind of a playoff game to get one of the spots. Liberty has the easier road. They've already, on paper, taken out some of the tougher competition that they have on their schedule in conference. So I don't want to make light of anyone else. I know off the top of my head, I believe they have a game against Sam Houston, and that's not going to be an easy one, but their schedule is not the finish for their schedule. They don't have no, there's three of us undefeated, and they don't have to play either. So it makes it really easy for them. Take care of business on your end, you get one spot, and likely the winner of that other game is going to get the second spot. So clearly, I'm going to say Liberty's getting one spot. Middle Tennessee's at home with a 50-point offense. Yeah, I'm probably going to side with the offense and say Middle Tennessee.
I don't want to hear none of that shit. It's gonna be Western Kentucky and Liberty. Simple as that. I know you humble. You can't really, you don't want to give out no motivation. I'm not gonna say much because I don't want to give them no motivation because I see that your conference definitely listens to the outliers. So I'm not giving any bulletin board, coach board, however you want to put it, material. I just got faith in my guy. That's all. I just got faith in my boy. That's all it is. I got confidence that you're going to pull through and get in that conference title game. That is no disrespect to none of the other coaches. All of the other coaches are great. Chrome is doing a good job at Middle Tennessee State. Jet is picking up mid-season and just running with it at Liberty. Uh, the other coaches are doing well. K Dot is doing well after a slow start. So I like all of the coaches there in Conference USA. But if I had to pick, it's gonna be Western Kentucky and Liberty for the conference title.
So I won't say anything other than looks like Liberty has the easiest route, then Western Kentucky, then Middle Tennessee State. So it I think what it comes down to is it comes down to everybody has to just win their games. Right? I know that sounds silly, but it's the truth. So if I think Middle Tennessee State has the hardest road of the three. So if they, like Sammy says, handle your business and you'll be in the playoffs. And so, but if I got to pick two teams, I'm picking Liberty and Western Kentucky just because of who Middle Tennessee State has to play to finish out the season.
Yeah, let's just go to the next conference. But I do want to throw in a random shout out. Um, if no one has seen Louisiana Tech play, definitely try to tune into one of his games I played him recently, and he runs a pistol offense. And let me tell you, I have never in my 20 plus seasons in the NDL played anyone that runs the pistol. And it was, I can't, like, frustrating isn't the word I'm really looking for. It's just like, I've never seen this before. So
It's
I don't
different.
know what to
It's
do. So it's like
different.
I'm having all these thoughts in my head as I'm trying to play defense. It was such a fun offense to play against. And I really hope that Fleet Freak is able to get a solid pick next season and get a team that, not that I think he does bad with them now, but you know what I'm saying. It's a more talented team to say, hey, I have a full pick of all these teams in the draft. Which team's skill set fits this offense? I would love to see him get a more talented team and run that.
If he gets a team with a little bit more speed, oh my. I love the offense. I've scrimmaged him, and I remember telling you outside of the pod, I was like, get ready because it's something different. It's something you ain't really seen before, and it's unique. And I like it. I like unique. I like different. So definitely shout out to him.
Yeah. I didn't like it for that hour as much as I like it outside of it, being able to watch it without having to worry about how to defend it. Um, Next up, go to the M's. The first one, the Mac. So as we talked about earlier, Chip is almost a lock now. He's 6-0 in conference play, and he will hold the tiebreaker over Western Michigan, who has two losses, and Buffalo, who has one. Buffalo, they pretty much still control their own destiny in order to get to a potential rematch, but they'll have to do it on the road in the state of Ohio. They have the Bobcats and the Redhawks, Ohio and Miami of Ohio, for those wondering. If they're able to win, I'm pretty sure they'll need to at least win one, preferably the Ohio game, because right now Ohio's 2-0 in conference play, but there's a lot of games that have to get played. So, we have to see what's going on with that in terms of potential sims, maybe. But he, realistically, I think Buffalo just has to win one to make sure that they're in. Is that what we're looking at? Or do you see Western Michigan or another team jumping in to mess up the rematch for the MAC championship?
Yeah, if he beats Miami of Ohio, then he's in because Miami of Ohio beat Western Michigan, I believe. So um, that'll take care of any tiebreakers if he wins that matchup against Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, I see that as the championship game.
Yeah, me too. I see a rematch incoming with both of those teams right there. Central Michigan lock already, and like I said, with Buffalo, if Buffalo beats Miami of Ohio, then that pretty much locks it up because they take care of any tiebreakers that um, may occur. I'm gonna fact check it here with Western Michigan. Yeah, they lost to Miami of Ohio. So if Buffalo beats Miami of Ohio, they lock in the other spot in the MAC title game.
Easy enough. See, we have one that's easy. I like that. Now we go back to chaos. We go to the Mountain West.
It's
Uh,
always chaos in this conference.
this conference is cursed. Like, I feel like this is when you're drawing straws for who's going to be the conference commissioner. This is the one that everyone laughs at, because the tiebreakers always seem to be super stressful, and I know if you're the conference commissioner, you're watching because you don't want to have to go through and run through the scenarios. But will try to do their part to make sure that you don't have to worry about one spot. Right now, they are 5-0 in conference play, and they have two wins against potential teams that have one loss in Boise and San Diego State. As a matter of fact, that is their only loss. Boise is 4-1, and then you have a group of teams at 3-1: UNLV, San Diego State, and San Jose State. So my first question is Fresno going to finish the deal and lock up a spot? And depending on your answer, that second spot, who gets it or who overall gets those 2 spots in the Mountain West?
Well, I think Fresno is going to get the top spot for sure. Um, and then it's going to come down to that. I think Boise San Diego State game. They play each other week 12. That's going to be. I think the winner of that game is going to be the other team in the championship game.
That definitely is something that's going to happen. I think Tuddy and Fresno State are going to get the one spot and going to have the home game there. And it does come down to that. Once again, it comes down to Boise and
San
San
Diego State.
Diego State. It always comes down to them. No matter the scenario, no matter if it's conference title game or serious implications in the conference title game, it always comes down to them.
It's just they're joined at the hip. I mean, San Diego State's a good school, obviously. So why wouldn't they be in the mix, right? Gotta love.
Right, right.
I do think Fresno will lock up one of those spots. They do have one game that is very important in San Jose State because if they lose that game, then the commissioner is going to lose sleep because then it just plunges everything into chaos for a little bit. But I do think they'll take care of business. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, that San Diego State Boise game is going to be huge, and they've played each other so many times. Now I think this would be their fifth. No, yeah, they played each other a lot. I'm thinking it's more like 7 times now, and I might even still be wrong on that. It might be more. So they know each other really well. At this point, it's what can you do to catch the other coach off guard? That'll be a fun game to watch. Hopefully, we'll get that pre-scheduled so we can check it out. Um, and I'm not picking a winner because friendship or school, the school that I still pay a lot of money to student loan for. I don't want to have to make a choice, but if I did, I'd have to
You
say
know?
Boise. But I obviously would still be happy seeing San Diego State win and rep the Mountain West in the championship game. And then the last conference, kind of the easier one, somewhat in the Sun Belt, because we have divisions, and it just makes things so much cleaner.
You
So
don't
when
forget the Pac-12 now.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
yeah,
kidding.
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
caught me off guard with that one. I don't even have a
Yeah.
response.
Well, you know.
Washington State wins going away. So
You never know though. But you never know. You never know.
I
You
think
but
get
this
I'm
is
proud to
you get
say
those two teams on the field and you play it out on the field.
I'm going to give some breaking news. No matter what happens with Oregon State this year, I'm not staying. So those who want Oregon State next year, they will be available.
Oh wow,
oh
breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
wow.
Oh
So
wow.
it's
Well,
time for
breaking
something
news.
different. I've had them for almost every game for like through this version every season. So
Eh.
Breaking
living on the
news.
edge.
Ooh.
Hopefully your
I
players
love the
don't
offense. I
hear this
can't play
though.
with the defense.
Oh,
So for all
that
those who ask me every season if I'm leaving Oregon State, I will be leaving Oregon State this season.
man. As Chip said, scoops on the outliers.
You know? We break news around here. We break
That's
news.
I feel bad because I, man, I feel actually kind of sad that you're leaving. I
What's
know it's,
that?
I feel sad that you're leaving them now. I know somebody will
I
be
don't.
happy to get them, but
they're
you're,
they're it's I enjoy playing with the offense. Like their offense is so much fun, but their defense is painful. It's absolutely painful.
Brother, I know how you feel.
It's painful. So I'm just
I
gonna go
know
be
how you
painful
feel.
somewhere else and go from there.
I know how you feel.
And there's already chat. It's already takers talking about them right now. So
Yeah,
they're
see, there
like,
you go.
you already got players already finding out that their coach is trying to leave their team right now. So a little
There you go.
awkward. You just
Enjoy
got
them.
you just gotta be like me. You just have to tell your team right when you get hired at the press conference. Now you do all that stuff. You put the hat on, you put the shirt on, and you take the pictures. And as soon as you get away from the camera, it's like, so you guys know I'm not staying here after the season, right? So let's let's make the best of it. And I'm gonna be upfront with you. I'm not gonna be like Lane. I'm not gonna lie to you and try to play the game. I'm not
Yeah.
coming back, and let's just make the best of it and do what we can. And
I'm
honestly,
hoping to move on to somewhere like the Mountain West. You know,
oh, I'm sure
have a
they'd
little
be happy
fun.
to have you. The retirement community, they would be happy to have you. Not that you're old, but it's super relaxed out there. You got the
Yeah,
mountains, the altitude and everything. Everyone's laid back, so it's a nice
totally.
landing spot.
I mean, I'm indecisive myself. I might not be staying either, but we'll see.
And Medi just somehow like that through Twitch, even though that's not possible. All right, so let's talk about the Sun Belt then, because
All right.
coaches that are still actively trying to make their fan base
To
happy
do
right
something
now.
other than be 2-10.
Well, I feel like this conference is kind of simple as well. Looking at it, I was looking at it while we was talking about uh, the Pac 2 and the breaking news that we just got. Um, I was kind of looking through it, and you have in the East, you have Mr. Gliz on top with the tiebreaker over Brady Sr., and there's nobody else really, unless he just completely pisses down his leg. There is no other way that anybody else can catch him.
Yeah, he's just got Marshall and Coastal. The easy thing is just win one. As long as
Yeah,
you
Yep.
he
win
just had
one,
to win one. Yeah.
the only scenario that things get interesting is if he loses two. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not looking through the tiebreaker scenario with what does it look
I
like with
mean,
three teams with three losses.
if he loses two, I don't really see App State losing two. So
That's fair.
I believe
So
App
yeah,
State
App
would
State would just
get
win
it.
outright
Yeah.
because he's
But
still.
in the West,
No, go ahead.
yeah. No, you're right. But in the West, we have a three-way tie, and we have a week 14 game that's coming up. That's pretty much going to determine the outcome of this division when you have Big Red taking on Duvid in week 14. USM versus Troy in week 14. How do you guys, and you have Mr. Shiesty with ULL at 5-1 as well. How do you see this one shaping up?
In some ways, I just want chaos, so I want Southern Miss to beat. No, they can't do that either. No, Troy would have to beat Southern Miss, and then Troy would have to lose another game because then between those three teams, if there was a three-team tiebreaker, they all will have split 1-1, which would just be hilarious. But um, really, I do think I know Louisiana's 5-1. Troy and Southern Miss obviously have to take care of business in their other games, but I think with both of them having one loss, man, tell you what, Louisiana, it's hard to tell because whoever wins, you would figure would have the advantage, but then Troy lost to Louisiana. So
But Troy also
They
plays
did.
Southern Miss last game of the season.
Yeah, that's going to determine it right
That's going
there.
to determine it right there.
Yeah, that's going to determine it. It's Southern Miss and Troy week 14, because if Southern Miss loses, then Louisiana wins out, then they get the tiebreaker. Even if they lose, I believe they get the tiebreaker because they don't play Southern Miss. They didn't play Southern Miss this year, so they would get the tiebreaker if Southern Miss loses one of their games. But
See,
if Southern Miss, go
that's the
ahead.
problem because they're all in the division, so they've all played each other. So Southern Miss beat Louisiana,
Oh, they did. They did. I'm sorry. They
but he
did. My
hasn't played
apologies.
Troy. So like, let's say everything else is a win. I don't know how the math looks on that, but if Southern Miss is tied with Louisiana, so if Southern Miss beats Troy, Southern Miss holds the tiebreaker over Louisiana. If Troy beats Southern Miss, Louisiana holds the tiebreaker over Troy. So
Okay.
Louisiana is still like it in a sense they're on the outside looking in because they don't have any control per se because they can't give another team a loss right now because they've already played both. But they definitely are rooting for Troy to win because Troy winning helps them because it drops Southern Miss under. If Louisiana can just take care of business, they're just watching this game with their fingers crossed. It's going to be
But
a really awkward.
out the three teams, the not the easiest path, but the easiest in between game goes to Southern Miss. They do have South Alabama.
Yeah. There is one other wrinkle thrown onto this. I don't like talking about this 'cause I don't like talking about like negative stuff per se, but someone did someone did break a rule. So there are suspensions for this block for Southern Miss, so that definitely doesn't make the road easier for them because they're losing their
No.
top corner and they're losing their quarterback. Not that I doubt Southern Miss can win these games, but it just adds an extra wrinkle that makes it a little more interesting to watch down the stretch. So yeah, it'll be fun to see because I know if I remember right, Southern Miss and Troy is looking to be played. I don't want to be a liar. Uh, this is when you wish people would just DM you and not type it where you can't pull it up. But I'm pretty sure they're looking to play sometime early next week, like Monday or Tuesday. So we will be watching. I know Louisiana will be watching it very, very closely. I still think if I had to be a betting man, David, please don't be mad at me, but I'm still going to say that Southern Miss is going to find themselves into the conference championship game.
I agree.
All
Of
right.
course, I agree. You ain't got to wait on me. You know,
I just
I
needed,
agree.
look, it
You ain't got
wasn't
to wait
for
on me.
me, it was for Big Red to hear you say it.
Okay, okay. My
I
bad.
just needed
My
you to
bad.
say it for him.
I, hey, I got you ranked, brother. So you already know how I feel about you. So
All right.
I got you ranked. Two polls in a row. I got you ranked. So
All right. Now for a fun conversation, and credit for this goes to Mr. Tuddy because he messaged me over the holidays and asked me a question. I'm like, not a bad idea. And I'll even read you directly what he said because I know that it wouldn't bother him. If it does, I'm sorry, but I don't think Tuddy would be bothered by this because he asked when the next episode was going to be, and I told him. And he said, I don't know if you guys are ever looking at topics, but I thought a cool talking point would be a hypothetical G5 playoff bracket. Maybe I'm ahead of myself and you guys already do something like that. This is my first year of G5 stuff. And then I told him, that's not something that we've talked about. We haven't even talked about the CFP really at all so far this season. So it make for a great topic for two reasons. One, because we've been having our power rankings of our top 5 teams. And two, if anyone has been in the live chat at any point since the final CFP bracket was released, I feel like every at least every 48 hours, chat breaks into a debate about who deserved to be in, who didn't deserve to be in, who had the best resume, who are the best teams, who's not the most deserving teams, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And at some point, it got talked about just have two separate brackets, a P4 bracket that's competing for a championship and a G5 where they're like their own, sub championship, so to speak. So I kind of, after talking with Tuddy and after seeing that, I thought it'd be interesting if we came up with our own bracket for an 18 playoff. So I don't know if you guys want me to go first or if either one of you want to go first of what
You
your
could you could go first, but I just got this to say to end all be all about the playoff discussion. Don't blame the two outliers, pun intended, for crashing the CFP. Blame the ACC. The tiebreaking system is stupid. They could have had Miami in and had them as an automatic, which possibly and more than likely would have had Notre Dame in. So don't blame, please don't blame the G5 teams. Just blame the ACC. Just do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a Nebraska fan first. I feel like I'm just about to say I'm a fan of every team, but I'm a San Diego State alum. I'm a big fan of them. And I remember someone asking, how would you feel about, if you're rooting for a team and they made it as a G5 and they got beat, blown out in the playoff? My first thought was like, we made the playoff. That'd still be cool. The fact that I would fly out to wherever that game was to go watch San Diego State get blown out by 50 points, it would still be the experience of saying, hey, we qualified for the playoffs. Think of it what you will, but I still think that that would be an accomplishment that at the end of the day, I'd be happy to see for the Aztecs. Now, with that said, here is my bracket, and here is how I would have it set up. So for me, the final would be at a neutral site, whatever bowl sponsor it can be. It doesn't matter to me necessarily, but
Independence Bowl. God damn it. The Independence Bowl.
all right,
We said that live on air. The Independence Bowl is the final for the G5 CFP.
Well, actually, I think it should be the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
First of all, no, it should be the Independence Bowl, and that is it. The Duke's Mayo Bowl can be a semifinal though. It can be a semifinal. And
all right,
we
well
put
then,
that and the uh what's the other one? Um it's another stupid ass name. I cannot
there's a
think
list
of
of
the Wasabi Fenway Bowl is the other semifinal. There we go. That's just the stupidest fucking name.
we
The
can't do
Pop
the
Tart Bowl.
we can't do the Pop Tart chip. We have to leave that for just two neutral
Yeah,
teams.
yeah,
So
yeah. Pop Tart is for like the two teams that just missed out on the CFP. That's what the Pop Tart Bowl is.
I need it to be two teams that feel very uncomfortable, and especially coaches. So yeah, I'm gonna need the Pop Tart Bowl to be just some other bowl game. But
Plus is that plus if they actually extend the playoff, I can see that being one of the bowls that they extend out to make it a CFP game.
fair enough. All right. Let me pull up my list here. I put together a list. I don't like the order, I'm gonna be honest with you, but this will work itself out as we get closer to the end of the season, so bear with me, guys, okay? So for my 18 bracket, the I guess the Independence Bowl will be a fitting bowl for the championship, but every other game for me would be a home game. So for me, the semis would be the higher ranked has the home, they're playing at home. So my bracket projected for now, looking at season 34, I would have Fresno State as the 1, taking on Memphis as the 8, Temple as the 2, taking on Southern Miss as the 7, East Carolina at 3, taking on Washington State at 6, and Central Michigan at 4 hosting USF at 5. If the playoffs started today, no other games are getting played. Those would be my 8 teams, and that's how my bracket looks. And
Okay.
I know no one's going to agree, and that's fine. But
Who you had winning? Who you had winning? Or in the final? Who you had in the final?
oh, we're not going that far. I'm just giving the 8 teams. Look, Tuddy just asked for the 8 teams. He didn't ask me to pick the games, so I'm just doing what he said.
Okay. Oh, my bad. My bad. I was asking for too much. I was asking for way too much. Um, if if I were the head of the NCAA or CFP or anything like that, I would either someone said it and then I was like, no, but I was just trolling. Um, Either you make all playoff games non-neutral site and home away type situations, or you make every CFP game a neutral site. I feel like I'm leaning towards every game being a neutral site bowl game because that's the way you implement a lot more bowl and you get the bowl participation going and get some of that prestige back on some of these bowls because it's like the Sun Bowl and Holiday Bowl and stuff like the Holiday Bowl is being played right now, but don't nobody give a shit. And that's a prestigious bowl. Just like the Sun Bowl gets buried on New Year's Eve and nobody cares. Like those are two prestigious bowls that got left behind. So with that being said, I would make all the G5 teams in a bowl game. Like we will have the Fenway Bowl or the Sun Bowl, the Myrtle Beach Bowl and the Pinstripe Bowl, and of course the final being the Independence Bowl, of course. Um, I would have the one seed. I would have one seed Fresno taking on 8 seed East Carolina. That's an interesting matchup on all levels right there.
Oh yeah.
I would have the 2 seed Temple facing the 7 seed Memphis
Hmm.
in a rematch. I would have the 3 seed Central Michigan versus the 6 seed USF.
Hmm. I like that matchup.
And I would have the 4 seed Washington State versus the 5 seed Buffalo.
Also interesting matchup, and definitely take the over. And midway through the first quarter, bet the over again. All right, Doc.
I got Fresno playing USF, Temple playing James Madison, ECU playing Buffalo, and Central Michigan playing Washington State.
Okay, I like this, and I think probably going forward, maybe we keep this segment for the rest of the season, maybe going in the future too. I think it'll be fun. We'll just have to get enough games played so we could do it. But yeah, Tuddy, great idea. Like it, and who knows, maybe a couple years from now, depending on what happens with the powers that be with the big boys, maybe we have something like this in the G5 in the future. So,
I don't want it. I don't want that. I don't want that.
I don't
I, li-
either, but I've
I like I like keeping. I do like the 12 best teams. I do. I'm not gonna lie, I do. But I feel like after all the hard work and the groundwork that the Utahs and the Boise's and the TCU's did in the BCS era, that I feel like they deserve the last spot.
Yeah, so this goes back to your earlier point. Blame the ACC. It's their fault for the second team, a second G5 in there.
It is because because like I say, you think about it. Miami gets an automatic slot, so Notre Dame takes their spot, and then Alabama gets the other spot. That way, all three of them are in, and you still have one G5.
Yeah, and then when Bama or when Notre Dame lost by 30, we'd have the conversation. See, BYU should have got that spot or whoever it
Oh hell no,
was.
hell no.
Oh, because
After
Notre,
BYU couldn't do nothing against Texas Tech, and Texas Tech couldn't do shit yesterday. Oh no, oh no,
well,
oh no.
I'm sure RB and Rain would agree that Notre Dame definitely was going to get walked on by whoever they were playing against, but that's okay. We can move on to the Block 7 preview and talk about talk about some important matchups remaining on the schedule. And one that I really like because hey, it's one thing to have bragging rights in a rivalry. It's one thing to have bragging rights in a coach rivalry, but it's a whole nother thing to have bragging rights in a family rivalry. You got uncle versus nephew, Washington State versus Wake Forest. Washington State, I don't know if there's a road. I think it's a pretty windy road for them to find themselves in the CFP, but at the very least, they would have to have a win here to keep their name in the pool, while Wake Forest is trying to come back from, I believe, 0-6 to make a bowl. Halfway there. Who do you guys see winning this game?
I think
I had go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
Vic.
I got I got Washington State. I'm gonna just say I got Washington State. Take the over on the total points, but I got the Cougs.
I got Washington State as well. Like once their offense gets going, they'll just continue to go. The key would be to stop that offense from moving.
That ain't happening.
Yeah.
That's why I provided no keys. I provided no keys to that one because there is no def. It's gonna be defense because the D just left the building. Defense.
um, I'm gonna side with Washington State for a different reason. And for those of you guys that played sports with your dad, you'll understand. It's a pride thing. And I know it's not father son, it's uncle nephew, but Tim does not want to give Sergeant Lingus any
I,
bragging rights at all. Like they go on the cruise vacation every year. He is not trying to hear about that, about the time that he lost in, season X. So he's going to make sure that he tries to get the clean sweep and keep it that way in the NDL. So just on pride alone, Tim's going to find a way to win this game.
I don't know about Doc, but I think that's why we picked Washington State too. I'm not gonna lie. As a
Yeah. I
uncle,
mean,
as an uncle and a dad, ain't no way, ain't no way. Nope, nope, nope.
Oh,
yeah. I try to beat my kid in everything because I don't need him marching around here telling
Exactly.
me that I suck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, that's me and my nephew in Mario Kart. I'm not gonna lie, over Christmas break we've raced in Mario Kart and we have a knockout tour, which is like the BR version of racing on it. And when he got eliminated, man, I messed up immediately because I had such the biggest evil smile on my face. That Grinch smile. I'm like, yeah, I won. I don't even
Yeah,
care if the computer beat me. I beat you. So that's all that
exactly,
matters.
exactly, exactly.
Tim, look, for us old heads, you got to get it done. For older heads, not as young heads, whatever you want to define it as. We're rooting for you, Tim. Next up, we have a fun matchup as that Vic brought up earlier, the AAC Tulane hosting Temple. Both teams have a loss in the AAC. The loser probably is going to be out of the running. Who do you guys have in this one?
And loser leaves town match.
Yeah.
Um, I have. I did not pick him with his other big game, so I'm going to pick him this time, and that is Coach Hughes at Temple. Uh, his offense is high flying. I saw that. I've been seeing that quite a bit the last like 3 games, even the game he lost. Uh, his offense is hard to stop, and once he gets that rolling, it's so aggressive. It's like a few players here. Um, a couple that come to mind is Jaguars in my conference, and another coach in my conference, Jumper. He reminds me of them.
Yeah.
Aggressive offense, like full metal, nose to the ground, aggressive offense. Like you have to, as a person that's playing defense, it catches you off guard a lot of the time because it's from play one. And you have to be mentally prepared for that playing against them because everybody doesn't play like that. So with his aggressive offense, I feel like it's going to be too much for Tulane.
All right. Doc, who you got in this one?
I'm going Temple. I, I yeah, I just see it that way. You know, um, I haven't seen him play yet, but just the way starting to stack wins, I think
Oh,
he's gonna be a hard beat out.
I'll make it a clean sweep. I agree with you guys. Simple, if you've seen him in the live chat, I don't see him very often, but when he's talked about his season, there's the line of what some would say confidence and arrogance, and it's not arrogance, it's definitely confidence. That game he had against East Carolina, you got to be feeling good coming off of that, the way that his team looked, and just with that offense. I feel like whether they're ahead or they're behind, they play the same. And as Vic said, it's very difficult to try to match that intensity because you have to guard all areas of the field on every snap. And that's a very tough ask to do, especially down in the G5. So I think Temple is going to jump out to an early lead. And I know Tulane's had a good season, but I think that they're going to be in for a rude awakening in this game. I think this one might turn ugly early. Oh, we're going to double up with the next set of games because we have San Jose block here. They're going to have a big influence on what happens in the Mountain West because they've got two really important games. They're playing San Diego State at home and they're playing Fresno on the road. So they have the potential to upset Fresno and give them their first loss in conference play while also muddying up the tiebreaker even more if they're able to knock off San Diego State, depending on how their game against Boise goes. It could just make things really, really ugly. So I'll just say in general, do you see San Jose State? How do you see them faring in these games, and will they continue to stay in the Mountain West race?
I don't. I see San Diego State winning that, and then with the following week taking another loss. So I mean, they had a good effort up to this point, but I think it's over.
Uh, I feel like this is another losers leave town match. And I feel like San Diego State is going to get the victory. It's too much talent overall on the team, more talent than San Diego State. I mean San Jose State, and Big Z, veteran, knows what he's doing at all times. he's gonna find a way to get the job done. That's the key right there. You got a younger coach for San Diego State, and a grizzled vet that has had his team for the longest of time. He's gonna know what to do in those clutch situations, and he's gonna get the job done.
I'm gonna agree with you guys again. I do think San Diego State's gonna win. It's interesting because Dak had Wyoming for the last handful of seasons, so I know that he has to know San Diego State well, and to some extent probably has to understand what works with San Jose State because he's got to see them in conference for the last what 4 seasons, 5 seasons, including this one. But I just think it's when you have your own team, a team that you know well, maybe not, as well as Chip with the first name basis, but Z is an alum at SDSU. He knows that team well. I think that little extra edge would be helpful in a game like this. I think he pulls that out. In Fresno, I think Fresno is just trying to make things easy on themselves. They're still in the hunt potentially for a CFP spot. Take care of business. San Jose State is on the list. You have to take care of them. So I think that San Jose State will be playing themselves out this block. Up next, hmm, game that we mentioned earlier, huge implications. Southern Miss at Troy. We kind of talked about a lot of the stuff, surrounding this game. Whoever loses is essentially eliminated from this because it gives them a second conference loss with, chasing a team that will own the tiebreaker over them, possibly two, depending on who loses. You got to win. Southern Miss is going to be missing their quarterback and their number one corner. Who do you see winning this game, guys?
Southern Miss. I'm not betting against him again. So I think Southern Miss is going to end up winning that one. I just think his offense is too good.
Vic? I gotta hear you say it. You know he has to hear it.
I got Southern Miss. I do. I do got Southern Miss. Um, I think that he's gonna pull it out minus the suspension. Suspensions is gonna hurt him, but I feel like Duvid and Duvid's play style, he takes a lot of gambles. Like he will throw the ball deep a lot. And it's the difference between aggression and just airing it out. And he's on the side of airing it out. He gets his breath off on a lot. And sometimes it's to the detriment of him. And I feel like in this game here is going to be to the detriment of him. And Southern Miss defense is going to pull it out.
That's the word I'm looking for here, defense. So there's two reasons why I'm picking Southern Miss here. One is experience, and I know sometimes in order to like you don't always have to lose in order to get experience, but Big Red has played in the conference championship. So that means he had to have pressure games to get there. Big Red had big games at Iowa. He's been able to be in the spotlight. He knows what it feels like to be there. Duvid hasn't had that moment yet. So this is the biggest game that Duvid has played in the NDL, and I don't know what to expect from him going in. So I usually would err on the side of the experience. Big Red has had these big moments. He hasn't always come through in them, but there's something different to having that experience because you know what to expect of yourself when you get there. So I'm going to side with Big Red for that and defensively because I think if I was going to bet on a team that we need to find a way to get a stop, we need to find a way to get a momentum shift. I have more trust in Southern Miss's defense than Troy. So for those two reasons, I have Southern Miss winning this game.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Always a fun game. Always a fun game. You got military schools doing battle. The best military school in Army hosting Navy. Two longtime vets in the NDL, two extremely unique offenses, as we all know, if you got to watch either team play. Who do you guys have winning this one? And tell me why Army is going to win.
Just I think Quest does a really good job of running that option offense.
Definitely.
So I think that's going to be a big bonus for him. So I think that just having and he's very consistent with it, and he's very balanced with it. So I think that's going to be tough for Navy, who doesn't probably run the offense as well. So
It's just not as efficient. Coach
right.
Ice runs it pretty well, but it's just not as efficient. Like he
Oh, it
Quest
can
can
be. I got to see it
it can
firsthand.
be it can be. No, it can be, but it hasn't proven to be as efficient this season for him. And Quest has been efficient with his offense, has more big plays downfield with the option attack. So I'm definitely going with Army because of that. More big plays, just more big plays.
Well, I feel bad because I like Coach Ice at Navy. He's a cool dude. I've got to play him a couple times. He got the best of me this season. So that's why I'm saying I can I've got to play him a couple times, and this time, like, holy crap, this offense like that in our last meeting, it was very efficient. The question that I have is not so much the run, because it's kind of different because these teams run this offense. So I always would expect if I'm going to use something, I would know how to stop it. So defensively, they should be disciplined on how to try to slow it down. I'm curious who is going to have the big pass play, because the pass out of the bone can be very damning if you're caught off guard with it for big plays. I have to pick Army because my dad was in the Army, so I have no choice. I know my dad's going to hear this and he would be mad at me if I picked otherwise. So I have to pick Army. But just know I'm rooting for you too. All right. The next, we're almost done here. There's a couple segments left. We got the shout outs. Doc, you want to go first?
Yeah, my shout out is to the James Madison coach. So I think that he has done a really good job of coming back and making some noise down there. So that's where my shout out goes to.
All right. Mr. Vic.
I got the same shout out, so I'm just gonna highlight that his profile picture on his Twitch is just the best ever. If you've never seen it, just go to when he goes live. You will see that picture. It's one of the greatest things ever.
I'm gonna have to look it up right after this because I don't remember. But I will. So I have two because I'm a liar once again. So one I already mentioned, and that's Rye getting his first win of the season. I feel like he was relieved to get it, and I actually hurt my hand hitting my desk when he got his score because I was so happy for him. So shout out to him again for getting that first win. And my second shout out, I'm definitely breaking the rules here, but hopefully Niddler won't or Rain won't give me a suspension for this. But man, I am so damn happy to see Pat back in chat right at midnight. Seeing that first message, I was like, yes, it's over. So
Me
happy
too,
to have
man.
Pat.
Yeah, it's good to see Pat back in the chat.
Definitely, definitely. Me too. I was glad to see that too.
Yeah, I was in the middle of streaming some baseball and I saw that and I just stopped everything I was doing and we talked about it on the stream. Like, so for you guys that don't know, here's the context. Like, I'm so happy to have this dude back in chat, making up for lost time too. Minus no, other than the whole mayo and ranch with wings, but I can forgive that. No one's perfect, right?
Right.
All right, Doc.
Right.
Oh no, I
Can you
was
hear me?
saying like yeah, for your
Oh,
segment.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry. Uh, so for my players, I got Washington State. So far for the year, they're just the yearly stats. Then I got Washington State's ZV Eckhouse, 4,061 yards, 43 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. University of Louisiana Monroe's running back, Braben McReynolds, 1,584 yards, 17 touchdowns. And Wyoming's John Michael Gillenborg, 95 catches for 995 yards and 7 touchdowns. So those three lead it right now. So get your stats in so we can have some more guys in there.
All right.
All right.
That 95 catches for 995 yards is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
For a tight end, I think it's super impressive.
I would love to have a tight end that actually can like it's funny because like I when I call plays, I'm not necessarily keyed in on throwing to a guy. But sometimes when I look and see like, man, I think my tight end's gonna be open, then my question is, can he get to the ball? Like can he get open fast enough? Having a good tight end is definitely such a plus in the offense. I know Shell
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
use his, but for the rest of us, we all like to have a tight end. It definitely makes playing it can make a user defender pause just for a second if they're guarding the middle of the field, and sometimes that can be all that you need.
All that you need. Yep. For those who want to take Oregon State, Riley Williams is a really good tight end. Um, so he's a big guy in the middle that can really use the field. I don't use him enough, but yeah, he's a really nice addition to have when you need to throw to your tight end.
You look at this guy trying to prop up that offense even more for the next coach. It's like I got the blueprint for you right now.
That's it.
Before you go, Vic, NTX poses a question. I know it's jokingly, but I'm gonna ask it anyway because I think it's funny. Who gets the next chat suspension?
Oh Jesus!
Wow.
Chat suspension.
Yeah, not player suspension, but chat suspension. I'm gonna go first because I know this is gonna surprise both of you.
Okay.
No one. That was
Okay.
I truly do believe that was the last chat suspension.
I don't even believe he deserved to get that suspension,
Minus
but
100,000. That's the
I
odds
don't.
on it. No more.
I
I think we're good.
I didn't agree with the chat suspension for Pat anyway, so I'm gonna agree with you on that.
I'm going to agree with both of you.
Yeah.
I think I think sometimes our rules sometimes get in the way of just sometimes whether it's I understand we got to be respectful and everything, but it's one of those things where it's two people having a heated conversation. I have a heated conversation with my friends probably twice a week about sports or just life in general when we're talking about something that somebody doesn't agree with. So I don't, you know, that's my thing.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that personal. It wasn't that
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, I mean, think about
offensive.
how many times you argue with your friends on a daily basis about
No, I
sports.
agree with you. No, I'm
You
agreeing with you.
know,
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, it's similar to that. That's what I feel like live chat is. We can't agree on every
right?
damn thing. So we gonna disagree on certain stuff. We are different people from different walks of the earth.
Yeah.
Like I'm uh Sammy's a guy that was overseas. That's from the West Coast. I'm a guy from the deep ass South, and Doc, you from the East Coast, I believe, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. See, it's three different personalities from three different areas of the country, and that's how the whole chat is. It's a bunch of us that live in similar areas, but we're not from similar areas. So
Right.
we're all from different areas. So how we grew up and how we chat and how we rag on each other or joke or clown on each other is gonna be different. Plus, I don't like sensitive shit no more. Like stop being sensitive. Stop it.
Yeah.
We grown.
Yep.
Stop it. It's
If it hurts your
2026.
feelings, then
We
probably,
it's
probably not in the right chat.
it's 2026, and if you ain't like MJ Kemp or El Jefe, you stop it. Stop being
Yeah.
sensitive.
And since
I'm
you
with you.
bring that up, I'm laughing because it's chat and also what I'm going to add to it after. So, Jordan says that um Weasel would be his bet, but
Nah, he don't. He don't.
I don't even think so either. And I just want it
Nah.
said. So I know RB just muted Weasel because I was. So first of all, as let me say this. So yes, I muted Weasel. I'm sure Weasel's probably said something about me muting him once someone told him that I muted him. Um, but at the beginning of the year, I unmuted everyone that I have un that I've muted across Discord. So at least I can like actively see what he's saying now. Someone's like we were talking pre-pod. I am not I like having some debates, but I just don't like constantly arguing in some of the negative stuff. So if it gets to that point, I just try to remove myself from the conversation. I don't need to get the last word. I don't need to win. It's whatever. Sometimes for the greater good, I'll just be quiet because it just like because I'm in other Discord servers too. Some with friends, some with other communities. I don't feel like I don't want to be the guy that people are just watching like, damn, like this dude is just like those two are arguing. I don't want to be no half of that. So sometimes it's better just to remove yourself from the conversation. But
But that's being
because
grown.
fair. But because
You know
Jordan
what I
brought
mean?
up Weasel, I just wanted to let Weasel know if he hears this that I have you unmuted again. So sorry about not playing you in the cup, but we'll play going forward.
And and to touch on that, it's sad. It's sad to know that while saying what I said earlier about us being from different areas, it's sad that a person from Louisiana can get a person from New York. He just New York. He just all the way New York. He just aggressive. That's all it is. He's just aggressive. If you don't look at it as an argument and just look at him as being him, and that's aggressive, then that's what it is. They all talk like that. He
Yeah.
probably, if he were to say how he types, he probably say it in the most calm voice like mine.
Yeah,
Probably
text and
saying it just calm as hell.
yeah, the
But it
difference
just
between a text
sounds,
and a phone call,
yeah, it
night and
just
day.
sounds aggressive. It just sounds aggressive through words. That's all it is.
NTX asks the better question might be who in the NDL is muted by the most members.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good one. No. Block.
I'm
Perfect
I'm
answer.
gonna be
Block.
honest with you, NTX. I'm not sure everyone knows how to mute. So,
I don't know how to mute.
so I'm not I'm not sure that they can. I think man, muting is better than blocking because when you block someone, they get notified that you blocked them. Where you mute, they can still post. Like there's some other servers, like I'm not trying to throw any shade on anyone, So if my buddy hears this, I'm sorry. Yes, I work graveyard shifts, but this dude is just blowing up chat at like between 2 and 5 in the morning. People are not up. Leave us alone. So he's muted so that I can go back and just click on his messages later because I don't need the alerts going off on my phone if I'm off trying to sleep. I'm like, bro, stop. Can't help himself. So yeah, I do think that we won't have another chat suspension now.
No, no, I don't think so either.
So that said, I'll turn it over to you, Vic, for the ball no effect.
Oh, y'all know what time it is. It is the ball nor fact of the week. Now, last week I didn't have one because it was nearing Christmas, and it ain't really no bowl games during Christmas other than Hawaii Bowl, which is lovely. That's like a bucket list for me. Hawaii Bowl on Christmas Eve, but that's just the football sicko in me. Um,
Real quick though, don't mean to interrupt, but did they play the Hawaii Bowl at that makeshift stadium?
no, they redid or they built a new on campus stadium or near
Yeah,
campus stadium.
that
They don't do it at the Aloha Bowl no
Aloha
more.
Bowl anymore? What a
No,
shame.
no, they do it on Hawaii's campus stadium now.
With the
Well,
construction.
they didn't pay they didn't really pay to redo the stadium, and they didn't want to redo the stadium. They kind of wanted Hawaii to have their own um, near campus experience because they saw what San Diego State did and UCF and Tulane and others did,
Got it.
and they wanted that for their own. So,
All right.
but the ball no effect of of two ball no effects of the week. Did you know that this team, the team that I have in the NDL, West Virginia, whoa, 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 it came close to winning
Nothing
the
ever.
national championship game. Can you guess the years that they fell short of a share or winning it all?
I'm not gonna lie to you. The only name that even jumps off the top of my head for West Virginia is Pat White, and I wouldn't even be able to tell you the year, so I have no idea.
I don't.
It's
I could
three
care less.
different. It's three different years. Officially, they have never won a national championship, but it's three different years that they either came close
It was
or
a year that Rich Rodriguez coached. Was
no, no, it wasn't.
no?
It wasn't that.
Wow.
It was actually 1 year is a long, long time ago. So who knows what happened? And that was 1922. They feel like that the school should claim that as a national championship for them, but they don't.
Typical West Virginia.
And then there was the season where they played in a quasi national championship game, and that was in 1989 for the 88 season. The quarterback for West Virginia was Major Harris, if people remember. They played Notre Dame in the quasi national championship in the 1989 Fiesta Bowl, and they were left out of a national championship game situation in 1993. They played Florida and got their ass blowed out in the 94 Sugar Bowl. So near misses. So, that's equivalent to Indiana. The tie in there with 2025 26, that tie in is Indiana.
Wow.
because Indiana is on the verge of doing something they haven't done in a long, 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 long goddamn time. And Oregon too, because Oregon has never did shit.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
That game against Notre Dame, what was the score? I'm just curious, like if it was a close game or
It was a close game. I don't have the score. I can fact check the score for you. Let me fact check the score for you real quick. It was not too close. Notre Dame beat them 34-21.
oof, yeah,
But that was the quasi national championship game because it was number one Notre Dame versus number three West Virginia. They climbed all the way to number three in the country.
pretty impressive.
That was basically the closest time that they ever could have won a national championship.
Okay.
And then, since we're talking about the CFP and everything that goes with that, the second ball nor factor of the day involves the CFP. And I'm gonna see if you guys align with me on what is you guys' greatest what do you think is the greatest CFP game? Now CFP started in 14 with the 14 playoff and now has expanded to 12. What game do you think is the greatest CFP game of all time?
Hmm. I'm if
Some say the
I
national championship with Clemson and Alabama. I know that's gonna be said in the chat.
I would say for me probably Georgia Ohio State with the missing the kick as the ball dropped. But it was a really good game.
That was a good one. That was a good one. My
I thought
whole the whole party stopped at my New Year's Eve party for that.
I thought last year's game was good.
Which one?
The national championship game, the final.
Okay. 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 I know some in the chat is gonna say the Clemson
Oh,
Alabama.
Georgia Oklahoma, yeah, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Who said that one? Who said that one?
NTX,
NTX.
yeah, the 2018 Rose Bowl.
And NTX would be right. The greatest CFP, in my opinion, greatest CFP game is that Georgia Oklahoma game. It was 54-48 in double overtime.
So basically your standard regulation NDL game.
Man, it was capped off by Sony Michelle's run in double overtime.
Man, I
That game
remember that
had
game
Baker.
now.
That game had Baker Mayfield lighting them up, and it had Nick Chubb and Sony Michelle lighting up OU defense.
Man.
Lincoln Riley was the coach of Oklahoma.
Oh, he definitely was the coach because yeah, defense and Lincoln Riley are like they go together like ranch and wings. Yeah.
Mayonnaise and coffee.
Oh man. Yeah. Man, that was
So those
that was a
two,
really good game.
those two things that are relative to current events are your ball nor facts of the week.
Oh man. Well, to close out, just want to say thanks to everybody watching. Let's make 2026 a great year in the NEL. And I have one last question. And this I present it to both of you. Whichever one wants to go first, that's fine. I couldn't help but notice that there was a really interesting Week 13 matchup and I didn't want to put it in the outline because I didn't want you guys to know that I was going to bring it up. So I just have to ask,
Uh,
chat. I don't know if you guys are aware, but week 13 is going to be West Virginia hosting Oregon State. And wouldn't you know it, those would be my two co-hosts. They've got a game this next block. So I have to ask you guys, who's going to win this game?
I'll tell you right now, West Virginia's going to win the game.
I don't know. Our defense has been horrible. I don't know about that.
Take a minute and watch an Oregon State one. You'll see horrible defense.
Just watch us versus Arizona State. You'll see even more horrible defense.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm looking forward to the game. I've never played Vic, so I always like to. I normally keep my schedule to like, especially when I have. And what's nice about Oregon State that I'll miss is being able to make my own schedule with the people that I like to play over a period of time. But so I'm looking forward to the game more than the outcome. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
And it is fun to play someone new. Someone you get to know and be cool with and get to play. That's kind of a major reason why I may leave West Virginia because I really don't have no freedom in schedule. I kind of have two spots that I have to fill, and I try to fill one of them with Wobbles. We have a little thing going. It goes back all the way to a different dynasty, an online dynasty that we were in. That we were in the same conference. So I try to make sure I play him every year, no matter what. But that only leaves one other spot open. A certain coach that got booted ran from the grind, so that took away week 2. So another coach that ran from the grind that properly melted down against Maryland
Oh,
didn't
I should
accept
have known this was coming.
didn't accept my week 13 request. So Doc stepped up and embraced the grind
You were
and
like, man,
replaced
where can I
him.
get this free win at?
Oh no, I was trying a lot of things. I was trust me, that the challenge stuff was filled up. My page was filled up. I was trying to because what happened was after because like I said, wanted to play a certain coach, but he ran in week 2, so that was out the way. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not playing him. So I was like, who do I want to play that I haven't played? I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play Tim. Da, 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 da. It's a little insider with the committee thing from last season. Oh, he'll want to play a Power 14. Yeah, get him a good win. Da, 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 da. Just even if he did beat me, it wouldn't even matter. I don't
Yeah.
even care. So it's like it would have been just good. But then he swiftly declined that. So after that, it was just like, well, let me find somebody new that I haven't played before. And so I was just trying to find people that was new. I
Yeah,
I
no,
probably I probably challenged like 10 of the new coaches that we had just to play somebody new.
that's awesome. That is. I think that's great. I've played Lewis Pino, Texas fan. I played him 29 seasons
Wow.
for
Yeah.
29 seasons. So and
I
then
just I
we
just
go at
played him. I just played him
UConn,
in the playoffs in an online dynasty. I just played him in the playoffs.
and then I played Rico from UConn probably 22, 23 years. So there's a lot of guys that I played for a long time that I just continue to put on my schedule. And so that's the one thing I'll miss about Oregon State.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be a liar again because that kind of got me thinking about a question. I'll go first since I'm gonna ask it. You don't have to lock into this. So for anyone listening, this isn't a formal challenge to anyone. Okay. But I'm curious if you could have one game for next season and force someone to play, and it has to be someone new that you've never played before, who would it be? I'm gonna give you my
Someone
answer
new.
first, so you guys have a chance to think about it. I'm putting you on the spot. Mine would be Shell, because Shell's been around in the league for a long time, and
Ooh, don't play
somehow
him with Oregon. Oh
You
shit.
haven't played Shell
I've
yet?
never played
Don't
Shell,
don't play him
Wow.
with Oregon. Oh boy.
not even in the cup. So like I played Mike a
Wow.
handful
Don't
of times.
play him with Oregon.
I played Noel for real a handful of times. Like I just played Corey for the first time on this year's game. Well, I think last year's games we had a cup matchup, but that's the first time we've ever played. So I think it would be cool to face Shell because I know he's more of an offensive guy, and we just never crossed paths. So I think it would be a fun experience. That would be mine.
Shell is
Well, trust
one
me,
of
I'm
the
not worried
people.
about Oregon because uh,
Okay.
well, I'm not
Oh,
saying I'm not worried about Oregon as in they don't
all right.
scare me. I'm just saying some of the teams that I may be looking at, Oregon would be on the schedule. So like
Oh, okay, okay. I got
I can't be
I
scared
got
because I'm
I
gonna
got
have to, take them knowing I'm playing.
I'm not gonna say scared because you don't run from the grind. Uh, the one thing about Shell, I did play him in season 30. Him and I want to say Rain when I played him in a preseason tournament. That was the most conservative I ever played. Was them two.
Fair enough.
A first person for me that I want to play that I've never. You talking about never played anything against, like no
At
scrims, no
all.
nothing,
At all. Well,
or
no NDL sanction games in terms of
okay,
league.
no
League.
NDL sanction game.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. Damn, I haven't played a lot of people. Oh no, I know who it is. RB. That's it. RB. I've never played him in something sanctioned.
Hmm. Okay.
I've played a lot of people though.
In those scrim streets.
No, I'm talking about like sanctioned. Now that I'm thinking about it, I played a lot of people. I've jumped around different conferences. I done went from like I've played Vegas in a bowl game with Mississippi State. I've played Big Mike. I've played Six. I've played a couple other people. I played Chase in the Cup. I played Rock in season 30. Genty fried my brain on that one.
Hmm.
Um,
Shocker.
yeah.
Damn that man.
I've played Tim in 30 as well in that Mountain West conference. That was tough. Um, like I said, I played Shell in 31. I've played Rain. I've played Pat. I've played MC. Haven't played Jiggy in some sanction either, but I played D Kennedy. I played a lot.
All right. So you say RV. That'd be a fun matchup. Our fellow
Yeah, I
the,
pretty
the
much played
fellow ad
all
runner
the main
in NDL.
all the mainstays I've pretty much played and sanctioned stuff.
Gotcha. Um,
For
Doc.
me, it would be Wobbles. I've I've only
Oh,
played him in scrimmage games. I've never played him in a game. But for me, it would be Wobbles. That was
oh,
it's all,
He is so
Fun
much fun
game.
to play. He
It's
is
fun.
so much
One of the
fun.
funnest games I've ever played.
He is so much. He don't believe it, but he
Oh,
is the funnest game I have all year.
yeah.
That partially scares me because I have him as one of my games left. Like I never know what to expect playing someone new. I always get excited, but I don't know what to expect. So like I'm excited to play him, but it will be interesting because I just will boot up and like whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, I love playing against him. No matter what, I mean, we've had close games, we've had non-close games. It's just always been the same. Like no matter if it's when the stuff started in online dynasty to carrying over to the NDL, it's always fun playing wobbles.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, one thing that I forget sometimes being in the G5 that is really cool is we all have, I think, to some extent, some guys that we would like to play every season in terms of coach rivalries, or we're still developing them in some instances. With guys that we like to play every year out of conference, and not because it's it's because it's a coach that you enjoy playing, whether it's play style, whether the game is competitive, whatever it may be. We have our reasons, right? And one thing that I do like about being in the G5 is you tend to have a lot of turnover in those conferences, so you're forced to play new people. And it's always nervous going in. It's kind of like going into that classroom to start the school year. You got a bunch of new kids in there. You may see a friend or two, but man, it's like, man, everyone in this class is new. And then you come out of it with a new group of friends that you weren't expecting. So I say that to say G5 life is pretty entertaining, as we talk about a lot on the Outliers. We'll keep track of these conference races going forward, and we'll see you next week with kind of a midpoint check in. Some of these races should be a lot closer, or at least narrowed down a bit, so we don't have a jumble of teams. And we'll keep you up to date on what is going on. So we're signing off for the night.
Come on, guys.
See you later.